That's right.
Okay. All right, well, it's almost 6:30.
Got 1 minute.
Roy, you ready? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be calling the August 19th, 2025 meeting of the Rockingham County Board of Elections to order. Tonight, we welcome Carmen McDougall. We'll do our Pledge of Allegiance, so I'll ask you if you'll stand. If after that you'll continue to stand, we'll have our invocation.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let me just say that Carmen is 10 years old and she's a fifth grader at Mall Street Elementary School, and we certainly appreciate our children coming in and doing the pledge for us. So thank you so much, Carmen. Mr. DeLancey, if you would do our invocation, please.
Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight with humble hearts to lift up this election board meeting and all those in position of authority. Grant them wisdom, discernment, and integrity in every decision they make. May they lead with justice, compassion, and a deep sense of responsibility to serve all people, especially the vulnerable and the voiceless. Surround them with wise counsel and protect them from corruption, pride, and self-interest. Give them strength to pursue what is right, even when it is not easy. May peace, unity, and truth prevail through their leadership. Lord, we ask that your will be done in our land through the leaders you have allowed to govern. Let them be your instruments of your righteousness and peace. 1 Timothy 2:1 and 2. Therefore, I exalt first of all that supplication, prayers, and intercessions be given for all thanks be made for all men, for kings and all who are in authority, that they may lead in quiet and peaceable life in all godliness and reverence. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. DeLancey. The Rockingham County Board of Election operates from an agenda. I believe, ladies and gentlemen, you've had the agenda for some time. Are there any corrections that need to be made to the agenda for tonight's meeting? Hearing none, I will accept a motion to approve the agenda.
I move.
Second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against likewise. Number 5 is a consent agenda. This is something that's kind of new to this board, and so let me just take a minute to explain to our audience. Consent agenda items are typically items that are non-controversial. From time to time, there are items that we have to vote on pursuant to law that just there's not going to be any controversy on them. And so we put those together under a consent agenda. If you have any questions concerning a consent agenda item, you can see our director, Paula Seamster, and she will explain that to you. Otherwise, at our meetings, if a board member wishes to remove something from the consent agenda, all they have to do is make that motion, and we remove it from the consent agenda, place it on our normal agenda for discussion. So hearing that tonight, ladies and gentlemen, you've had the consent agenda for some time as well. Is there any items that need to be removed from that?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to remove the delegation of authority and duties for the director and also the resolution to allow annexed voters of the city of Reidsville. I think that those two are not routine items, both requiring our signatures, all of our signatures. And I'd
Okay.
like to ensure the board discusses each.
Okay, so we will make delegation of authorities and duties of the Director of Elections for Rockingham County. We will make that number 6A before our public comments. And resolution to allow annexed voters of the city of Reidsville, we'll make that item number 6B before the public comments. Are those all the corrections we need to make to the consent agenda?
Did you say, Mr. Chair, that if we had questions on any of these items, we were to go to Paula?
If the public has questions on any of these items that we don't discuss, then they could go to Paula. They can also come to one of us, but I mean, they can call Paula and get clarification on that.
Okay.
Are there any other questions concerning the consent agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to accept the consent agenda with the changes that Mr. Hampton has requested?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, by like sign. Okay. So item number 6 is our proposed precinct boundary changes. I believe that Ms. Seamster will be presenting that.
You will see a colored picture of the precincts as they are today, and this is the picture of that. And the reason why we are looking at this, when we presented the Leaksville 2 precinct, dissolving that, the state board actually said we needed to look at the Moss Street precinct and the Western precinct because they were growing considerably, especially Moss Street. So what we did in the office was we pulled the maps, the voters, the census maps, and tried to figure out a way to make those 2 precincts smaller and to make some of our smaller precincts a little bit larger with the voter population. Moss Street, we actually moved voters from Moss Street to Ironworks, McCoy, Southeast, and Lincoln. And the voters from Western, we moved some of the voters from Western to Hogan's and a few voters from Huntsville to Hogan's to try to increase Hogan's voting population. The population for Moss Street of voters on July the 14th was 7,793 voters. We were able to move over 1,200 voters to the other 4 precincts to reduce it down to 6,592 voters. We're trying to keep it under 65, but the 92, they said, would be okay because the populations can fluctuate anywhere from 50 to 100 depending on the election at the time. So we were able to increase the Ironworks population from 2,797 to 3,572. And McCoy went from 4,584 to 4,782. But one of the largest areas we tried to look at was Hogan's. Hogan's originally was at 2,250 voters. And now it's at 3,134 with the changes. And I know that you'll probably want more time to look at this, but all of this information is in your packets. And if you have any questions, just let me know, and I can go into more details. But this is something that the board would have to approve first Then it would have to be sent to the state board for their approval. And these precinct names, any changes in boundary lines, we would have to rename those precincts. And we would have to have a name that has not ever been used in the history of voting in Rockingham County.
If there's any questions from members, Mr. Jones, I believe you requested some time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to commend Ms. Teamster and the staff for this. It's been noted for quite some time that I think the largest precinct in the county was more than 3 times the number of votes than the number of voters than the smallest precinct. And this was something that was definitely needed. I know that there was a lot of work that went into this. I want to thank you for it. I also want to assure the voters, because I have looked at this a bit, it's not like people are being moved in a way that they're going to have to drive further to go vote. In many instances, they're going to be going to a place that is closer. If it is further, it may be just slightly, but it's not like it's moving anybody to a precinct where they're going to have much more distance, and in many cases, it's going to be less. So I think this is really good. It does establish a little bit more parity in the numbers than what we've had in the past, and I just want to thank you all for your efforts.
Thank you.
Let me ask you, assuming this is approved by the board, when would these changes take place?
They would take place during the primary in 2026.
There's a process by which the voters who are being moved have to be notified. Is that correct?
That is correct. We have to notify them between 60 and 90 days prior to the election.
So that means this process has to start in March of next year?
It needs to start sooner than that, because we would have to notify them by, the early voting starts in February, because Election Day is March the 4th. So we would need to notify them this year around December or November in order for them to have ample enough time to know what the changes are.
Does any voter have the right to protest this move?
Not if it's approved by the state board, and not if it's approved by this board.
Okay.
Because we had that with the Leaguesville 2 precinct as well, where some people did not want to go to what's now Stoneville. It's once those lines are defined, those are the lines.
And that move has been approved by the state board?
That one has been approved by the state board, and it is in effect right now for the municipal election, the Leaguesville 2. Is that what you're talking about? Yes.
Ms. Seamster, I have a few questions or maybe some comments. Having discussed this with you earlier, I wish we could put this up on the board so everybody could see it, but let's look at the Mall Street precinct, for instance. There's a section of the Mall Street precinct that runs south. If the board members could, if you're looking at this map, this is the one that I'm referring to. So there's a section of the Mall Street precinct that runs south between McCoy and Southeast. It runs almost to the bottom of the south side of the McCoy precinct line, right? You see that? And so that is part of what was moved into McCoy, Ironworks, and Southeast. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then if you go to the northeast side of that, you've got a section that runs up into to the Lincoln area up there. And I believe that was trimmed up some and put in the Lincoln precinct, right?
Correct.
And then Mall Street runs all the way over west to New Bethel. So I think that we were able to cut some of that in this new map, correct?
Yes, and we added those to Ironworks.
Ironworks. And so what we've essentially done is taken the Mall Street precinct and made it contingent with the city limits of Reidsville, just about. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And then on the western side, in the western precinct, we used Highway 220 kind of as the dividing line. So everything that was east of 220 would have been divided up into Stoneville or Hogan's. I think those two mainly, right?
Well, everything in Western and Huntsville went to Hogan's.
Okay.
Because
So you-
Stoneville is a pretty large precinct.
All right, so there's a section east of 220 in Western, and then there's a very small section of Huntsville that's east of 220. So now 220 is the dividing line, which makes a very viable dividing line for those districts. That's what we've done, correct?
That is correct, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, when you look at the numbers of the people that we've moved, this has not affected disproportionately the race of any group that votes in any one of these districts, has it?
No, it has
Okay.
not. That's what we use the census numbers for.
Right. And so the number one goal was just to kind of clean the precincts up and to reduce the size of some of the larger ones to make them more in line with what the state wants, and then to increase the size of some of the smaller ones so that we can distribute the work more evenly. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes, sir.
Okay. Is there any other questions concerning this? Hearing none, I think that we would have to have a motion to approve this if we approve it tonight. Is that correct, Ms. Seamster?
If you would like to approve it tonight, or you can do it at another time. But if this looks good to you tonight, you're welcome to do that.
Well, I don't believe the numbers are going to change at another time, are they?
No, they will not.
So, yes, sir.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, let me ask one more question. What are the factors that the state board considered in approving these adjustments?
They look at the census maps and the lines to see that there are roads that separate it. They look at the population of all of the precincts to see if it's more uniform. And they also look at the number of voters that do early voting and election day voting, because I have to provide that data as well to see if it's proportionate throughout the whole county.
Mr. Chair.
So the numbers that you have were sent to you from the state board, and you just had to work with them?
No, I wish it was that easy. The numbers on the statistics by precinct, I did receive from the state board. This is a report that I print at the end of every month and is put on our website that shows the number of voters in every precinct. The handwritten numbers, we had to actually print the voter registration or the voter logs and go through the roads and take the voters off and move them. So it's not, this actually took several months to do. I started working on this back when we did Leaksville. So it's not an easy process because you don't want to miss any of the roads and make sure that you get all of the voters. So I wish the state board could help us with it, but they're not able to help us with the redrawing. And I can say that GIS, Andy Treadway helped me a lot with these maps and was able, some of the roads I questioned because they didn't go all the way to the end, and he was able to help me with that and make sure that I got all of the roads included in these maps.
So in essence, you use the same guidelines as the state does in determining the new lines and all the other information needed to make that decision.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Does the adoption of these new lines require that we move any of the polling places from the existing?
No, it does not. Because the polling locations are still within those boundaries
Okay.
of the new lines.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a comment, and then if I may, followed by a motion. But I just wanted to make a comment that I wish we did, like you say, have a map up on the wall that people could see. I do want to make just one example. The Mall Street precinct, for instance, goes as far west in the county, all the way down Ironworks Road to Almond Road, almost to NC 65. And then on the east side, It goes all the way in the northeast, all the way to 29 bypass, and it carries all the way out Narrow Gauge Road. It is several miles from west to east. And I would just say, for instance, those on the western side are going to be much closer going to Ironworks. And I would also add that nothing we do tonight would prohibit us making further changes later.
That's correct.
But I think this is definitely a big step in the right direction. I mentioned earlier about more than 3 times the difference between the smallest, and I just want to give the numbers, the smallest and the largest. But before making this change, the smallest precinct in the county was 2,198 total voters. The largest precinct in the county was 7,793 voters. And so obviously you don't want for one to be so crowded, the other one to be so sparse whenever we can make these changes. And I think everything that I see on here makes a great deal of sense. So, Mr. Chair, I move at this time that we would approve these maps as drawn, the new maps.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a motion to accept the new precinct maps as drawn. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Their next item on the agenda is the 6A, which is the delegation of authority and duties of the Director of Elections for Rockingham County. Mr. Hampton, would you like to speak to that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first thing I would observe about this document is in item number 10, with the sentence beginning in third line down. The director is to prepare necessary, including maps, registration data. There's something missing there.
I see. So, the whole paragraph says, prepare recommendations for the board regarding the establishment, divisions, discontinuance, or combination of election precincts, divide or alter precincts upon authority of the board, period. Prepare necessary, including maps. What is there supposed to be?
Documentation.
Prepare necessary documentation.
The next thing I would point out about this document is that this is our governance document. This is something that has to be submitted to the state board. It is a document which identifies duties, responsibilities, and authority that we transfer to the director. We should hold the director accountable for the completion of those things, or the way in which those things are carried out. And the fact that that all 5 of us have to sign this is an indication that it is not a routine or usual item. It is one that deserves separate consideration and separate discussion.
And so, hearing your concerns, would you like for this to be read? Would you like to have Ms. Seamster read this for the public's benefit as to what all of this is, or are you prepared to make the corrections that you've noted and vote on it as in the board?
My motion would be to approve it and submit it to the board for approval.
Okay. So we have a motion to approve the delegation of authorities and duties of the Director of Elections for Rockingham County with the correction on item number 10 that says prepare necessary documentation, including maps and the like after that. So,
Mayor, I would second that motion. I do have a question for the director.
yes, sir.
Ms. Seamster, are there any changes to this document from the one that you all used the prior term?
This is the same document that was approved in 2023.
Thank you.
I do have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
And that question is, should we include that we receive a draft of the agenda before it is posted?
Yes, ma'am. I didn't realize you wasn't receiving that. So can we, let me ask you, how soon do you have to post the agenda?
I need to post it, usually it's posted online Thursday afternoon
Okay.
before our meeting on Tuesday.
So if you send me the agenda and we approve it by that Monday before, can we get that on the Monday before the Thursday? Can we get that out to the board members
Absolutely.
through their email? Is that
Absolutely.
satisfactory to you?
But you're currently sending that to us to review to see if we have anything to add to that agenda, are you not?
I did not with this one.
Okay.
And that may be my fault. I don't know if I got it back to you in time or not, so
We can do it.
we'll do better going forward. How's that?
Hey, we're working on this. We'll get it
All
done.
right.
Work in progress.
Yeah, all right. So from now on, the board members will get the agenda packet on the Monday before the Thursday that you posted online for the public. Okay,
That's good.
all right. So I believe that I have a motion on the floor for the approval of the delegation of authorities. Do I have a second?
I did.
Oh, you did second. And so therefore, we have a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, like sign. Item number 6B is the resolution to allow annexed voters of the city of Reidsville. I believe that's an issue that only comes about during the municipal elections. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And I believe that resolution is in your packet, and it just, it says, whereas General Statute 163-128A, Election Laws of North Carolina, gives the county Board of Elections the authority to temporarily transfer voters for the purpose of voting to an adjacent precinct. And whereas the Rockingham County Board of Elections deem it necessary to allow such voters annexed on Rocky Ford Road with house numbers 788, 830, 840, 972, and 1016, and voters annexed on Bob White Drive with a house number 110 into the city of Reidsville Southeast Precinct to be transferred to vote in the city of Reidsville McCoy Precinct. And whereas such voters will be notified by written letter, and whereas such transfer shall be for the period of time equal only to the term of office of the County Board of Election making such transfer, now therefore be it resolved that the Rockingham County Board of Elections will assign such voters to the McCoy Precinct, Reidsville Alliance Church polling location, Reidsville District A. Such transfer is effective immediately upon adoption of this resolution and shall be for the city of Reidsville municipal election only. And so for our guests that are here with us today, because the municipal elections are a little different than general elections and stuff, there are voters that fall outside of the normal precincts used in the municipal elections, and they have to be moved into a city precinct place. So that's why we have to do this. So do I have a motion to accept this?
I make a motion, we accept.
And do I have a second?
Second.
All right.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
I did have a.
I'm sorry.
I have one thing I just needed to make sure that we understood, that authority to temporarily transfer because it is municipal.
Right.
And then whereas the period of time equal only to the term of office of the County Board of Elections making such transfer. I just wanted to make sure that the public heard that
Right.
as you read it.
But now, Ms. Simpson, this is the same document that you've used year after year after year in municipal elections, so we've not changed anything on that, right?
The only thing that has changed is went from 4 to 9 voters. And I can add this, if the state board approves our new district lines, we will not have to do this because they will all fall in the McCoy precinct
Okay.
in the future.
Okay.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Just again, this is just a clarification maybe for people who are listening at home so 9 voters, basically if we didn't do this, you would have the Southeast Precinct open for 9 voters to come and vote. And so just everybody understands why we're doing it.
Yes, that is the reason for it.
Now,
Thank you.
Ms. Wright, since I did not realize you were going to ask a question, does the vote stand with you, or is your vote has not changed? Okay.
It has not changed.
Thank you. All right, so item number 8 would be the director's update. Item A, preliminary 2025 election schedule.
Yes,
I'm sorry, let's wait a minute, public comments, but we didn't have anybody sign up for public comments. So item number 8, director's update.
okay, in your packet, there is a spreadsheet, it should say 2025 election schedule, that gives all the dates and the breakdowns of what will be occurring from Tuesday, September the 30th, all the way through November the 14th. Of course, our very first absentee board meeting is scheduled for September the 30th, but we will not actually start mailing out the absentee by mail ballots until Friday, October the 3rd. We still have to post that meeting, but of course, right now, it will be canceled, but we still have to post it because it's required 5 weeks prior to Election Day. On Tuesday, September, that should be 30th, sorry. The logic and accuracy testing, this is the testing on the machines. We do open this up to the public. We do ask that they notify us. We'll send out a notice that they let us know that they're coming because there's only so many people we can allow in our workshop when this testing is occurring. But this is open to the board, it's open to the voters, we just have to know how many are coming. On October the 2nd, we will have a mock election, which will start at 10 o'clock. Unfortunately, this is not something that's open to the public, but it is open to the board members to come and watch how the numbers are uploaded and decrypted and sent to the State Board of Elections. And then starting October the 7th, every Tuesday, we will have an absentee board meeting starting at 5 o'clock until the day before election. And then the day before election, which is Monday, October the 3rd, we will have a pre-election absentee board meeting at 5. Election day, we will have an absentee board meeting that will start at 5, and that will go on until the polls close, because we'll be receiving absentee ballots until 7:30 election night. So I wanted to make you aware that is something new this year. Prior to that, we could have an absentee board meeting after the election. With the new state law, they're done election night. All absentee ballots have to be reviewed and approved that night unless they are missing a photo ID. If they are missing a photo ID, they have until Friday, November the 7th at noon to get that into the office, and we will have a provisional absentee board meeting at 3 on that day, because all of the provisional ballots and absentee ballots have to be sent in to the state board at 5 o'clock that day. That's why we're having it at 3. That is also a change in the new state law. But this, after I get these corrections made, they will be put on the website so the public will know. But that's what I have for right now.
Okay. And then I believe that we have upcoming events, and are there any of them that you want to call special attention to? And let me say, I believe this upcoming events is events that your staff participates in as part of a county program, is that?
Yes, and we also have our precinct workers that attend, that man these as well. And what we're trying to do at these events is to get registrations. We're also showing them sample ballots for the election that is coming up. They will get to see our bulletins, our brochures that we have. We'll also be trying to, I guess you say, solicit new precinct officials. So there's a lot of things that are going on. We will also have a drawing at these events. We have some insulated lunch bags that we will have, one that will be given away at each of these events. If they enter into the drawing, then we'll have a drawing for them to win that bag at the end of the evening. But we're trying to get the word out throughout the whole county about all the different things that goes on in elections. Is still a lot of people out there that wonders what we do Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 every day. And that's when we can talk to them and let them know the different things that we do in our office. But the one thing I do want to point out of all these events, we will be holding an election expo at our office on Thursday, September the 18th, from 3 to 6. The individuals that come in that day will be able to register to vote. They will be able to update their information. They can get their photo IDs taken. They can look at the DS200 machines, the express vote machines. They can learn about the process of absentee mail-in ballots, learn about the new laws that are affected in the absentee ballots and the new laws with the provisional ballots. And I can give you a little bit of information on that. Rockingham County had 822 voters in our rolls that did not have driver's license or Social Security numbers. A letter has been sent out from the state board to all of the voters that we were not able to get in as of last Thursday to update their records. So those letters went out to it's a little bit over 700 voters last week. They have until the municipal election, if they are voting in this election, to get that information corrected, or if they're outside the municipalities, the primary. If they come in to vote this municipal election and they have not updated their driver's license numbers or Social Security numbers, they will be voting a provisional ballot. And there's nothing I can do about that. If they will get the driver's license information and/or Social Security number to us, they are now inactive in our system as of last night, and they will be flagged when they show up to vote if they have not updated that information. There is no way we can give them the regular ballot that can be put into the DS200. It will have to be a provisional ballot.
And they have until when to cure that?
If they're in the municipal election, we need that cured before they vote this municipal election.
Okay.
The voter registration deadline is, let me see what I had that date. I think it's October the 10th.
And if they don't do it by October the 10th, they can correct it the day they vote, but they'll still be voting a provisional ballot.
That is correct. So it needs to be corrected before early voting begins.
One thing that I wanted to point out on these events, I believe you and I talked about it, and I confirmed it with the county. There is some benefit to your department participating in some of this, and maybe we can even help out, but I believe that we will now be able to participate in, what do they call it?
It's shared spending.
Shared spending, yes. So there, if, I believe that you actually set the goals for your department with the county, and if you meet a certain percentage of that, then I guess at the end of the year, we will take advantage of some of the money saved in the budget, I think is the way that works.
That is correct.
So we could use that for items that we failed to particularly budget or additional items that we may feel like we need. But there is some financial reward to making sure that we attain the goals that you put forth to the county that said we would.
That is correct.
So we're now part of that. So that's good news. I have one more question before I go to public comments. Well, not a question, but I do want to ask you a couple of questions, I guess. On the consent agenda, we voted on the chief judges and the judges, and I just wanted to point out for the benefit of the public. Neither party presented us with a list of names for these positions, is that correct?
That is correct.
And we're using the same people that we used for many election cycles, very, very competent, well-organized, and proficient people.
That is correct.
And we do meet the standards set forth by the board as far as the number of Republicans and Democrats and even some independents. Is that correct?
That is
Okay.
correct.
So nothing has changed about that list?
Nothing has changed. The only changes, we may have moved some chief judges around that are not working this election. That's
Right.
the only thing.
Okay, all right.
And the chief judge, the assignments are just for this election.
For the municipal elections?
That is correct.
That's correct. All right, and so it goes back unless the parties decide on changing somebody for the primary election, then I assume we'll be using the same people at the same precincts that they have normally worked unless they choose to bow out themselves. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And so for the public and those that work the polls that are listening, let me just be the first to tell you that we appreciate the time and the effort that you give to work the polls as judges, as chief judge. It's not an easy task. It's time consuming. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and I can tell you that we really appreciate the job that you do. And so with that, I believe that we would go to board comments. Ms. Totten,
Yes.
do you have anything to say?
I appreciate everybody that's here tonight. We appreciate it when you support us, and we would like for you to continue to do that. If you have questions or any needs that we can help you with, feel free to ask.
Ms. Wright?
And ditto. You said everything I would have said.
I concur with Sarah. Thank you all for coming.
Mr. Jones?
Make it unanimous.
Well, I will
All
do the
good.
same. Thank you all for coming. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you.